So the past few months have seen heightened market volatility driven by geopolitical developments and so many global events. And during such times, investors often ask important questions to themselves that how should I navigate the current market volatility? Is it really a time to relook at my investment strategy? And how should I really stay on track to achieve my long-term financial goal? And to answer all of that, in order to how to navigate the current market volatility and how to stay on with your current protection, saving and market-linked investments, we are being joined today by Mr. Prasun Gajri, who is the Chief Investment Officer and Chief Strategy Officer at HDFC Life in this episode of Investar Talks. Welcome, Prasun, and thank you so much for joining us today here. Firstly, wanted to understand that of late, the recent geopolitical developments, the market volatility, of course, they are making into the headlines. Wanted to understand what's your current take and what should investors do right now if they really have that long-term vision?
Sure. First of all, great to be here and good to be talking about something which is of immense passion to me, the markets, as well as long-term investing from an insurance point of view. While it's true that the way world it has been, geopolitics has been dominating the scenes. I mean, we've had the Russian-Ukraine war, which is now technically longer than World War I. And we've had this Middle Eastern war, which has been going around for a few months now. And it has had ramifications across the world, across markets. But we seem to have taken a larger brunt of it given our energy dependence. And therefore, with crude prices rising, impact on rupee, which has been a challenge for a while, getting worse during this phase, Indian markets have taken a lot of beating. And therefore, if you look at the aggregate indices, the large cap indices have practically delivered very limited returns over the last 2 years, maybe some returns from the mid cap indices, but overall the market returns have been a little bit lackluster. Are things changing? Maybe they are. I think there is hope on the war ending with these 60-day talks. We have measures from RBI to prop up the rupee that has helped rupee to recover, and there is hope that more funds flow in and therefore rupee should stabilize or even appreciate a little bit from these levels. On top of that, we have had valuation correction. So Indian markets relatively have underperformed a lot of other emerging markets. Put all that together, there is a little bit of positivity building around, and the domestic flows have been reasonable. They have come off a little bit in the last month or so, relative to what they were in the previous months. But overall, it is looking a little bit positive. The lesson to be learned is that this kind of ups and downs in the market are here, and they're not going to change. Today, it could be the war or rupee or maybe a weak monsoon, which is being forecast. 1 year down the line, it could be something completely different. 5 years back, it was the pandemic. So the markets are like that. So as a long-term investor, what matters and what matters most is why are you investing in the first place? What is your goal? And the short-term market movements, when I say short-term, I'm not meaning 1 day, 2 days, even 1 year, 2 year market movements should not really take you away from that goal. As long as you're very clear why you're investing, that is the more important part. I think investors have to look at it from that perspective and also be very clear that this kind of up and down moves in the market are a part of the market. And I'll put things in a little bit perspective for people. Let's say last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whichever phase you look, and I'm just talking about Nifty, not even about any other index, total returns, including dividends, etc., will be in the excess on a 12 year and on a 10 year and 20 year basis. I think they'll be somewhere between 12 to 13%. On a 15 year basis, could be probably between 14 to 15% per annum. The returns are not bad at all. And this is despite during this phase, we have seen the global financial crisis in the last 20 years. We have seen the 2013 taper tantrum which happened. We have seen the pandemic. We have seen multiple wars. We have seen maybe monsoon failure a couple of times in the middle. We have seen change of governments. I mean, lots of things have happened, but that is what the markets give. So when it happens, it looks like that this is something so bad, and therefore I don't want to be a part of this market. I want to run away, or I want to take a short-term view. But if you give it time, you realize that markets can give you returns despite these kind of phases.
All right, but Prasun, the other question I wanted to ask is that during such times, what are some of the common mistakes that investors tend to do, and how can they really avoid making those?
Mistakes are more behavioral and trying to kind of do too many things. End of the day, investing is actually a fairly simple thing to do. I think the first mistake people tend to make is react emotionally. So I think one has to be, while emotions are natural human responses and every human being does react emotionally most of the times, but I think it's important for longer term investing especially to take a pause, take a breather and figure out why am I invested? Especially when I look at insurance. Why am I investing? Am I invested to protect my loved ones? Am I investing for my child's education? Am I investing for my retirement? Am I investing for some specific return to come to me at a particular period of time? Why am I invested? And most of the times you realize that irrespective of what markets are doing, those goals are not changing. Those goals are there to stay. They are something which is the reason you started to invest, right? So if your goals are not changing, why would you want to suddenly withdraw from the market? Because by withdrawing from the market, then you're back to square one. You basically have to restart and say, okay, now what do I do about all these 4-5 objectives which I wanted to achieve? So I think that is something which every investor needs to keep in mind.
Current environment, how important it is for an individual to balance wealth creation with financial protection while aiming for a long-term goal?
No, perfect. I think that's a very, very relevant question especially when one looks at from an insurance point of view. See, why does one do financial planning? See, end of the day, this entire science of financial planning. So everyone will say, okay, I want to grow my wealth. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I guess everyone wants more wealth, which is a given, and therefore you want to invest to grow your wealth. But when you're growing your wealth, you also need to guard, right? You cannot, therefore you require protection. If life is uncertain, right, something can happen, and if that happens, your long-term financial goals are anyway not going to be met. So protection, in my view, comes even before you start really looking at long-term wealth creation, because that is giving your loved ones a way to kind of tide over financial difficulties in case you are not around. So I think you need to start from protection as a first step. And number two, I think I would want to remove a very simple misconception people have, is that entire financial planning is only about maximizing wealth. It is not. And I'll come to why it is the way that is. See, when you're investing for specific things. You are investing for maybe requirement of money at a specific period of time. You do not want to put all your eggs in one basket. You do not want to say only one asset class. You want to diversify across asset classes because you want a part of your money to be safe, stable, something you require when things go really wrong. That money is not going to go away. So therefore, for every individual, maximizing return is not the objective of financial planning. If you want certainty in your life in terms of what cash flows you're going to get at particular periods of time, those can give you that return. We have market-linked products called ULIPs. So whereby you can combine your protection and investment needs in one, and these are long-term products. And these are not something which I would advocate for someone looking to invest for 2 to 3 years. These are clearly long-term products, but these then kind of give you a choice between what amount of money goes into protection, what you want to put in investment, and within investment, what asset classes you're willing to look at, whether it's equities or fixed income.
All right, Prasun, now let's talk about one such product that combines both, that is life insurance as well as market-linked investing, and that is ULIP. Why it is all the way more important to have their investment in ULIP if you have a long-term goal?
Oh, it fits in beautifully, actually. You mentioned rightly the word long-term. So ULIPs, first of all, are long-term products. If somebody is looking to 3-4 years, ULIPs are not the product for them. So if you are willing to invest over a longer period of time with a specific goal in mind, and combining protection and market-linked returns, ULIPs are very nice products. Because they not just give protection, they also give you choices in terms of what asset class you want to. The right kind of returns, and to fulfill the goals you started off with, you have to take a longer term call. I think that is the very, very imperative part. So you buy a ULIP, but you stop paying premiums after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. then they don't make sense. In fact, you are doing yourself a disservice by doing it and trying to move money here and there. And ULIPs also give a lot of flexibility in terms of allowing you to switch between funds in case your lifestyle changes or you want to change your asset class mix over a period of time, etc. So that flexibility is available within ULIPs. So in my mind, ULIPs are very flexible, cost-effective, but long-term products for investing as well as protection, which combining the best of both worlds in a way.
Which are those qualities that differentiate one person who has managed to achieve their long-term goals versus one person who's been still struggling?
I think it's just end of the day, it boils down to behavior. So someone who just sticks through those phases. When I said that uncertainty, volatility is a feature of the market, it's not a bug of the market. So if you're going to be invested long-term, you have to live with this. This is going to happen. Now, if that is the nature of the market, and every time something like that happens, you're going to react. Your behavior forces you to take some things, take the money off or put more money in the market, etc. Then I think that is the behavior one has to guard against. So a longer term wealth creation is not going to happen in one day. It happens year by year. It happens saving every year, paying your premium every year, making sure that you stick to your goals. So it's not something which is an overnight thing, right? It's at the end of the day, we all love cricket, right? It's test match batting. They're getting so used to T20s that people forget what it is to grind in a test match, right? So first day Perth cricket test, you're facing fast bowling, you have to grind it out. You cannot necessarily start coming out and smashing the ball all over the park. So, and investing long term is like a test match. And therefore you have to go through these phases. You need to kind of have defense, you need to have attack, everything in one place. So in my view, the people who succeed at doing it are who get their behavioral tactics right, who stick to the long haul, who do not get carried by the fad of the season.
Okay, but the other question is also very well connected, because looking at the market environment, if somebody is really looking to maybe discontinue their investments or take some amount off the table, or rather reduce their investment amount, what advice would you have for those investors?
No, that eventuality can happen to any individual. There are times when you require emergency cash. There could be medical reasons, there could be other reasons. People go through crisis. So at that periods of time, not paying your premium should not be the first option. I think there are options available. For example, certain kind of products you can get loan against policies to tide over the difficulties. There could be provision for deferring or discussing with your advisor in terms of what the best you can do. Maybe you can lower your benefits a little bit and pay a lesser premium depending on the features of the policy. So not paying your premium outrightly defeats the purpose of why you were investing. So unless that is absolutely required, in which case one is kind of forced to, I think one should explore all the options available to be able to continue with those payments. Because the moment you stop making the payments, your benefit cease, your protection cover reduces or falls depending on how much premium you paid. So then it actually makes you even more vulnerable to the risks, right?
All right, Prasun, but before we wrap, what's that one message that you would like to leave for HDFC Life customers who are concerned about the market volatility and the short-term fluctuations that they see all around?
Okay, I think broadly, I'll end up repeating myself, but so be it. I think you have already chosen HDFC Life as your partner. You've already decided that you require protection, a certain level of guaranteed products or a ULIP, and that is with certain goal in mind. Whatever that goal is not changing with the movements, up and down movements of the market. Markets tend to fall, then they recover. There are phases when the returns are very good, there are phases when the returns are bad. Over a longer period of time, if the average market returns are able to meet your goals, that is what matters most. So please stick to your plan. Please be disciplined. It is eventually the discipline and going through the cycles which ends up creating longer term wealth and achievement of those longer term goals.
Well, thank you so much, Prasun, for taking the time out and helping our customers with the valuable insights and definitely helping them understand how to navigate the current uncertainty with greater confidence. So one of the key takeaways from today's discussion is that while market conditions may change, the principle of sound financial planning remains the same. Staying focused on long-term goals, maintaining financial protection, and definitely remaining disciplined in your investment journey. And to all our HDFC Life customers, remember that wealth creation is built on definitely not reacting to short-term news flow, but consistently staying focused to your financial plan. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Investar Talk. We look forward to coming up with more such discussions with our experts in the coming months. Until next time, stay informed, stay invested, and stay protected.